Terry Carroll. I live at 1137 Haley's Way in Creekside Park, and I live on Haley's Way, which is the very first street right behind Garlic Creek, so I'm right next to it. And I have been in Buda since 1984, when there were 16,000 less people than there are today. And there was a 2-lane country road all the way to the freeway with nothing but country houses and very little development. And now Creekside Park, comes around that dogleg right where the turnabout is going to be. And there are often times in the evenings when I go out to turn left to go towards Buda that it is backed up from Main Street all the way around that dogleg. Now, it did help when they put in the light at Cullen Country. It helped kind of give us a little gap to be able to get out, but I'm concerned I will not be able to get out of my neighborhood. I have actually had to go to the right and go all the way down to 1626, all the way to 2770 to get into downtown because the traffic has been so backed up. And so adding, it sounds like maybe less than 2,500 now since you've got the larger lots, but still a lot of cars in that area, and that's my biggest concern. And I love the land use, the parks, the trails. I love all of that. I want Buda to be a beautiful place, beautiful Buda to be a place that we all want to live and we want to stay. I've been here for 40 years. I don't want to have to leave because I get crowded out of my own community that I love so well. So that's my concern. I won't take my full 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, it's Ty Myrick. I live at 808 Magnolia Cove in the Cove of Cimarron. I'm the president of the HOA, and my HOA has a lot of members who are pretty concerned about this. And I came last month and spoke. We talked to the developer last night, actually. We had a call with them. The plan that they have come back with looks to me like it answers most of the things that we all wanted to get out of the deal. They were telling me that if they can move forward with this PID and get the funding early, they can get 1626 connected with 200 new homes on the ground. That's a big deal. I mean, when the alternative is to just come in and start connecting to Dove and just building up as dense as you can get before you actually connect to 1626, I'd like to see us get the deal that they're offering because it's better than what we had before and probably better than anything else we're going to get. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
I'm John Sanford, and I live at 12909 Lantana Trail in the Coves of Cimarron. Could I get the picture back up that was the transportation plan that showed a lot? Yeah, that's it. That's the one I'd like to refer to. Listening to all this tonight, I really think that the quicker financing method that gets the road built all the way through to 1626 is probably going to be a key to this solution of making this work. And I want to address the issue of the larger lots. When you look at the Coves of Cimarron, the southern section is all 1/3 acre lots. And then when you're up in the northern section of the Coves of Cimarron and you get on up into the woods, it's all 1/2 acre lots. And if the city of Buda doesn't approve any more large lots, our percentage of the homes available to the people that want large lots, it's going to shrink and get smaller and smaller and smaller. And so you have to approve some large lots somewhere. And the plan tonight, as I see it, doesn't approve any larger lots on the Armburster tract. but based on the armburster tract being adjacent to the neighborhoods that already have the bigger lots, you've got some synergy going there that if people want bigger lots, they'll just kind of look in that basic general area. And so from that point of view, it makes sense to maybe come up with some 80-foot front lots in the armburster side of the tract that would be closer to these other half-acre lots. There's some lots in the back section of the Coves of Cimarron that are 7/10 of an acre. There's some, it's just it's a different product. And I would like to say one thing too. People worry that if we get too many of these big lots that are going to have too many big houses on them, where are the buyers going to come from? And I'll tell you where the buyers are coming from. It's been the same way for the last 8 to 10 years. You have one good high school in South Austin, and that's called Bowie. The rest of them are all the rest. All those South Austin people are selling their houses for $800,000, and they're moving down to Buda, and they're buying a $800,000 or $900,000 house. Now the Californians are probably going into Austin, but we got a lot of South Austin people coming into Buda, so they're already sort of our people. They just have money from selling their house in Austin, and so don't be afraid of selling the bigger houses. We can sell them.
Hello. Let's see here. I live over in Cimarron, the trails of Cimarron, I guess. It's Cimarron Park, not quite the coves. We don't have an HOA or anything. I've lived there about 4 years, and I did come from like Austin, so I'm just one of those folks. But everything's kind of changed in the last 2 years for me because I had a son born, and what I really love, like, you know, he gets to play in the street, and that's one of the things that, you know, I'm really concerned about is the safety of, you know, but I'm just kind of coming to this party a little late, so I see, you know, they're trying to address everything and all that, so I thought I'd come up with something maybe that hasn't been mentioned, but I do know we were talking about the dark skies and and like we were at the very beginning of the meeting, we were having the day where we're gonna try to, like, you know, help with the bird migration. So I'm just wondering with, like, maybe there's something with all this new development, they can, like, kind of do something about the lighting. I know when they build the houses, they're gonna go ahead and put those lights out, and they're gonna build those. I'm not sure if they're responsible for the street lights and whatnot, but I thought maybe that would be something to kind of consider, because, I mean, with that whole density of houses, I'm just kind of concerned with that, because, I mean, one of the things I'm really excited about is to get, I'm not sure if we're at Dark Skies destination or whatnot, but that's just something I, you know, was wanting to bring up. And the other thing I'd like to bring up is, since I am kind of over there, I'm sure everyone around has issues with coyotes and whatnot. I'm just kind of wondering if there's any kind of study or something that does anything, because this is all kind of barren land, and what happens if all those, you know, I came from like Zilker Park before I moved out here, and as everything kind of blew up, I mean, now like I'm still on the old next door there, and, you know, coyotes are taking out cats and like no other, but like now it's getting you hear these stories about coyotes kind of like, you know, maybe following people on trails and all that, and I know we're wanting to do all these trails, so, you know, they have to go somewhere, right? So that's all I wanted to bring up, but I relieve my rest of my time. Thank you.
Council, thank you for the opportunity to let me speak tonight. My name is Mike Littrell. I live at 12706 Shady Acres in Cimarron Park, or it's actually Woods of Cimarron. You see, Shady Acres is this street right here that runs all the way to Lakewood. Okay. My issue that tonight, I'm very encouraged by some of the design features, the green belt and all that down Dove Drive. A few of the neighbors and I have really been having an issue with traffic We're the cut-through neighborhood to go to 45, from 967 to, coming from both directions, not just from Buda, but from 1626 back to 967, so they can bypass the intersection. The improvements that have been made on 967 have really helped a little bit, plus the traffic signal skills by Commissioner Jones, they help a lot. But that has relieved some of the traffic. But we're getting, we had a little study done by Precinct 5 Constable Ellen back between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We did a 10-day period. 19,190 cars went down my street from cutting through from 967 over to Lakewood to catch toll 45. 19,190 in 10 days. Over 6,200 of those cars are between 7 and 10 in the morning. And that's just on Shady Acres. When you come down, let's see if I can get the, oops, wrong mouse, here we go. When you go on Dove and cut around, you hit Ranger. Down here at the end, you hit Ranger, come across, first stop sign is Shady Acres. Everybody takes it down that way. A large percentage of those cars are going straight on Ranger and using the other streets that hit Lakewood. So 19,000 is a short number. There's a lot more cars than that. That's just 19 going down our street. 68% of those cars are exceeding the speed limit. The speed limit in the entire neighborhood is 25 miles per hour. The study recorded between 30 and 80 on Shady Acres. We're getting cars, passing cars on Shady Acres. We're getting 18-wheelers. We're getting loads of lumber, loads of windows, numerous landscaping trucks, and they're all running fast. Everybody has stood next to a highway before, and you know what a car sounds like at highway speeds. That's what we're getting on Shady Acres, cutting through from 967 to Lakewood to 45. The main concern I have with the I'm very encouraged by the parkway that's going to be open. Hopefully, if it can be open early, like y'all are talking about, I think that'll be great. I think it'll help us a lot in the neighborhood. But construction traffic is another issue that we want to keep an eye on from the neighborhood. But thank you for your time.
Good evening. First, let me thank you for allowing me to address you on an issue of utmost concern. I'm talking about the proposed Bailey-Ambroster track and the traffic problems it's going to create for all of us. I'm Gerald Hosky, and I live at 308 Fox Hollow in the Coves of Cimarron with my wife, Donna. We moved to semi-rural Buda in 1999 because we liked the quiet neighborhood, the dark skies, and little traffic. What a difference now in 2022. And now there's a proposed major subdivision going across Dove Drive from the Coves. We're not happy, given what we stand to lose, as previously mentioned. We would like to retain what's left of rural Buda. The proposed development will just be about removal of the last large tract of undeveloped wooded land in the Buda area. I ask you, what's going to happen to all the wildlife? Why not create a nature conservancy with this land instead of filling it up with apartments, businesses, crowded homes on small lots, and narrow streets with lots of traffic? A few points I'd like to address, and I do appreciate some of the comments that these gentlemen made. First, if this subdivision is going to be built, please make sure that the north-south major thoroughfare, I think Garlic Creek Parkway is the name, is at least 4 lanes wide with turn lanes and is completed from 967 to 1626 before any homes are built. To accommodate two-way traffic in the subdivision, please make sure that all other streets are at least 2 lanes wide with a turn lane, curbside parking, and sidewalks. We don't need streets like in many other subdivisions in the area that virtually have 1 lane for traffic and real problems with emergency access. Better yet, why don't we try and find another entrance? Maybe there is a way on the east side of that track connecting to Farm to Market Road or County Road 236. I don't know what it would take to do that, but that might be another entrance. 2, please require the builder to build only houses, no apartments, duplexes, etc., on lots of at least a half acre or larger with a 150-foot build back and garages that open to the side, not the front, particularly for those in the on-bruster tract, so that they are similar to those that are located in the coves. 3, in regard to Farm to Market Road 967, it's already a major thoroughfare with all the major traffic problems. A few thousand more cars won't help. A roundabout won't help in the big curve, only create a bottleneck, particularly for westbound traffic. A traffic light and or an overpass might help. Nowhere have I seen a roundabout in a situation on a major thoroughfare that resolves the problem, and I don't think it will here. Plus, remember that curve floods, and what are you going to have with a roundabout that's underwater? And it's 967 closed. 4, finally, where's the water coming from all these homes? How about the sewer? Other utilities? What's it ultimately going to cost the taxpayers in Buda to allow this subdivision to be built? Then what about the other problem of drainage? We all have seen what happens when we get a flash flood here in Buda. These are just a few of the issues that I see as confronting us. Please take them into consideration when you make your decisions. Thank you.
Mayor, council members, I appreciate the opportunity to address you tonight. I've been out here 43 years, longer than most of you folks have even been around to see Buda, period. I know that I've seen more development in 43 years that I've been out here than probably most you will see. Most of these people that are in here, I've never seen before in the Buda area. That's what we've got is so much traffic. It's not necessarily the Buda people in the city of Buda as the traffic. The traffic is coming from all over, and it all bottlenecks right here in downtown Buda. Now, 967, I live in Oxbow Trail. I didn't give you my address, 16220 Oxbow. Everything that just funnels, even with these 2 subdivisions, and they've got good plans, I see that, but they're not going to do anything that's not going to help, or that's going to help the traffic situation, period. We have a traffic situation as it is. People are just going to bottleneck more. You build a new bridge on 2770, where do they go? North, south? We got a new road that's going to be over there for the truck bypass. Well, they miss it. It brings the traffic downtown, or they have to go south to get on the truck bypass. I don't even know if they can get on it there. But we've got all these situations, and there's bound to be a solution to it. But putting it on the neighbors to the north is not a situation that we should be addressing really and truly. We think that we're going to get 45 east. Well, it took us only 25, 30 years to get 45 west. And, you know, all we ever did was delay it. We didn't stop it. We haven't stopped anything in years. We've delayed it. Any subdivision that comes in, we've got to have a way in and a way out. I keep hearing the roundabout. The roundabout is being done, has been done. It doesn't sound like it's a done issue, but I'm on the fire board. And roundabout is going to be a problem for our fire trucks, our EMS, and get our ambulances and things from one to the other. Right now, your calls are made and done within less than 6 minutes. If we have a roundabout and we have all this traffic put on 967, 2770, 1626, I-35, it's gonna go up. It's gonna have to go up. Now, we're building more fire stations. East, we're gonna build them here. It's just like schools. We're providing a service, but we have to have some consideration as to what that service is going to do in terms of the future. We know that we grow or we go. That's true. But we're going to have to manage it where it's going to be more beneficial to all of us, not just the city and not just the people that come in here with big bucks. So I appreciate your time and hope you listen to me. Thank you.
Well, George knows how much I love to talk, and I didn't want to have to sweat it. I had a great speech, but this presentation, if true, is causing me to think about some things. Oh, I'm David Patterson, David Lee Patterson, 16220 Remuda Trail, Buda, Texas, 78610. Okay. I have some questions. Can we get a firm number from Milestone of how many houses will be built in a contractual way prior to the completion of the road to 1626? I would really like to get that in writing with penalties if not performed. Okay? I think that's something y'all should look at in your development agreement. Okay, so how many houses will be there before the road? Okay, I don't like the fact that most of the parkland is up in Travis County, but I found out that's because you can't use the land. You give the parkland that you can't build on. All right, I understand. I want more parkland down here, though. Okay. The last thing I want to ask about, because everyone that knows me knows that I planted a forest in 1984 to 1988. I won the Barton Springs Edwards Aquifer Conservation District Award for planting trees that don't require water. I drip irrigated them for 5 years and have never watered them since. So they're going to take care of some of the trees that they're taking out, and they're going to put in a number of trees on each lot. Are they going to drip irrigate those trees? Trees are like children. You treat them well, you nurture them when they're young, they jump out of the ground. I have 40-foot tall oak trees that were planted in 1986. Witness. So, I want this codified in your development agreement. It has to come with penalties. You know, if you don't finish something, I used to be in the building business, if you don't finish on time, there's a penalty. If we can get, because I trust nobody. I rode my bicycle across the country, including Missouri. I'm not from there, but you got to show me. If you can do that, I will back down. This has not been a fun 9 months for me. I've been spending 25% of my time trying to raise awareness about cars driving into, going to 1626 from Dove Drive, the cut-throughs. That's an absolute no-no. Kids, bicycles, speeders, no mix. I have to ask, how many injuries, how many deaths are acceptable? What's the percentage? So, that was 3. If you guys can work out a development agreement, and it sounded like the PID needed your help with our city staff to ease the permitting, and we can verify that this road will be completed with no more than 200 homes, I'll back down. I'd like to go garden. I'd like to make national TV commercials like I do for a living. I've been spending a quarter of my time working on this because, as you can see, there are people here that take this community serious. And that's what makes Buda different than other places. I want to thank each and every one of you for doing the terrible job of being a council member. Thank you very much for your service. I will sign off on this if you guys can get a real deal. But it's got to be verifiable and ironclad, and that's it. If you can do that, I'd go back to growing vegetables. Thank you very much.
Thank you for indulging me. My name is Mark Venditelli. I live in Bayou Bend in Whispering Hollow. I have a list of things that I took note of throughout this presentation. Thank you all for your service. I'm a former HOA president, and it's funny that I just happen to be here tonight because I previously was in construction and I'm currently in real estate, so I know quite a few about the details of a lot of the elements that was presented tonight. I'm just going to go through them. Hopefully I don't run out of time. About the gentleman that said about the roundabouts, I follow the community webpage next door, and I haven't heard any good comments about roundabouts, just for feedback from the community. I'm also a cyclist, and I currently cycle Coal Spring Road, and I kind of wonder when that becomes a main thoroughfare, just how much more cyclists are going to get pushed out to the dark, outside, unpaved and maintained roads that are outside the city limits. Cycling has become a very dangerous sport, if you even call it a sport anymore, for the recreationists like myself. I tried to watch or run through and follow how many proposed units that just kept going with phase 1, phase 2, and everything. And I don't fault you gentlemen. You're good at your jobs, but your job, in my view, you're consumists. You're not conservatives. You don't focus on conserving anything. You just want to consume. Homeowners cost improvements. That was a funny one to me. Homeowners cost improvements get passed on, and they are not the same amount that developers pay. So when you talk about homeowners are going to pay this much and then the developer's going to pick up the tab on the rest, the cost is not apples to apples, and don't believe that it ever is. You know, I've seen a lot of ceremonial glad handing here at the first part of this about the establishment of the dark skies. But the repercussion of developing 700 plus homes, what does that effect on that is going to have on your dark sky ceremony? I mean, really, you're creating more homes for more light, more pollution, more air. How's that going to affect sanitation? How's it going to affect traffic? I've seen illustrations of where 967 is going to be a thoroughfare at Coal Springs of 1626 and that whole development. Have you seen the left turn coming off Main Street to Coal Springs? Do you know what that's like already? Another joke to me was they want to remove trees and plant more houses. So there's no space for trees, but they want to target, 25 or 75% of what is proposed are the requirements. But the operative word there is target. They want to try to achieve that. That doesn't mean they're going to. They want to replace old 25 and 50-year-old oak trees with new little saplings. That's not Texas. That's not this community. Target numbers are kind of a maybe number, but they're just that. They're just a hope. The dairy barn illustration, the reuse of the dairy barn is a nice sentiment, but it's not going to meet current code. They're going to have to demo that building. We all know that, but it looks nice on paper. And what about the strain on services like sanitation? I already mentioned air and noise pollution quality, not to mention property taxes. The gentleman was right when he said real estate, the median home prices is $250,000. I'm one of those guys that moved out of Austin and came to beautiful Buda. Why? Because it was Buda. It was that picture of trees as far as you could see, I got out of Austin because I couldn't stand it anymore because of this stuff, the overdevelopment. Every square inch is turning into, I left California for this reason. Why does it all have to be developed? Why do we got to turn it all concrete? I'm a real estate agent. I make my money and a living by buying houses for people. But there's got to be a point, enough's enough. We don't have to be the next Austin. We can say no to these guys. They can go find other dirt to build their dream plots on. They want to squeeze every inch out of it. So the reason they want you to fast track their permits is because the market's hot, and they know they can get their money back quick. I'm sorry. Thank you for your time.